Okay, so hi guys, welcome to another video. So welcome to Amazon Prime Day, and I think if you are subscribed to any tech channels, you probably have seen a lot of Amazon Prime Day videos, but most of them are focusing on the US markets for Amazon Prime Day. So take note that Amazon deals for both US and local Singapore, where I'm from, is very different. So I'll be talking about Amazon Prime Day deals, Amazon Prime Day tech deals for Singaporeans, right? For Singapore. So first and foremost, what I'm logged into is Amazon.sg, as you can see on the top here. Maybe, yeah, a bit smaller, so I'll just zoom in. So you can see on the top, Amazon.sg. So that's why the Prime Day deals for Amazon.sg as compared to Amazon.com, which is the US site, is quite different, because some of the deals that are on the US site doesn't ship to Singapore, or the deals just doesn't apply, or when you convert it from USD to SGD, it just doesn't work out. So this is Amazon Prime Day Tech Deals on Amazon.sg, as well as some other websites like the New Egg, which is from US, and also AliExpress, because I just want to include more. Some of them, for example, like on AliExpress and New Egg, aren't really Amazon Prime Day deals per se. They are just overall good deals that's been ongoing, but it's just good to complement it with the system that I'll be talking about here. So first and foremost, the Ryzen 7600X on Amazon.sg is really cheap. It's a really good deal. It's selling at $179, which is $180, which is really good deal. I've actually ordered one for myself yesterday, and later I'll talk about what I've actually ordered. So full disclosure, some of these parts I've already ordered a set for myself to build a PC for myself. It's to sell, so I probably will build a set for fun, and after it's fully assembled, I will try and list it on Carousel for sale. Yeah, I may post the Carousel link under this video in the future. Probably will take quite some time for the parts to be shipped over. Yep. Okay, anyway, so this is 179. Why is this a good deal? Because if you look at the link on AliExpress, so this is AliExpress. AliExpress actually has the deals here change a bit. Let's see. If I search for 7600X on AliExpress, it's retailing for around $250, right? 250, even 280, 290. So this deal, it's almost $100 off. So it's about $80 to $100 off, which is a really good deal. Okay, so that's the usual price for 7600X. So the normal competing CPU for the 7600X would be the 7500F, and you can see here the 7500F on which is usually only available on AliExpress, but I have actually purchased a 7500F on local stores in Sim Lim, such as Dynacore. So, but they only sell it in, I doubt they sell it as a single standalone CPU. They sell it as a bundle set, that when you buy a motherboard with them, then they pair it with the 7500F. So you have to pay a bundle price. So that is quite different from buying the CPU alone, because when you buy the CPU alone, you can actually pair it with very cheap motherboards, which I will talk about later in the video. So stay tuned. We'll watch the full video. Okay, so the 7500F, the cheapest you can get it is about $187 and $189. And right now, for the Amazon.sg Prime Day deal at $179, it is cheaper than the 7500F, which is a really rare instance, right? So the difference between 7500F and 7600X is that the 7500F is the basic 7600 without the X, with no integrated graphics. So it functions almost the same, maybe slightly a little bit slower than the 7600X, because the 7600X is the fully unlocked chip. It has PBO boost enabled. It runs a bit hotter, but it's performs slightly better than the 7600, which also means it performs better than the 7500F. So if it's lower price than the 7500F. You come with the benefit of integrated graphics, which is really good when you are trying to build your system and you're trying to debug, because you can build a system without a graphics card just to test whether everything is working, and then you plug in your standalone graphics card later, so that then you know that the system is working before you plug in your graphics card. It's especially useful when for me, because I built a lot of my budget builds with used graphics cards. So when I buy a used graphics card, I might not know whether the graphics card is actually working or not before I put it in the system. So it's actually nice to know whether my system boots before I put in the graphics card. So really good deal, 7600X on Amazon Prime Day. Next up, this is not really a Prime Day deal. As you can see, there's nothing highlighted, but this is also a pretty good deal on Amazon.sg. 7900X for those people who are more less gaming focused, then you are more productivity focused. Let's say you do video editing, you do 3D modeling, you do VTuber rigging, for example. Anything that is to do with content creation. Well, most likely video editors, maybe photo editors, and so on. Like if you use a lot of, I don't know, Premiere Pro is video editors, maybe Photoshop and things like that. Blender, if you are a 3D artist, and so on, then you are more productivity focused. The 7900X on Amazon.sg has always been on a pretty good price. So it's about $500. Why is this a good price? Because if I compare with what Newegg is selling, Newegg is selling it at $630, right? So that is the normal price you expect of a 7900X. So when you compare the price on Amazon.sg, is more than $100 SGD off. So it's a really good deal there. Okay, so next up, so I'm gonna close this. Okay, on talking about Newegg, so when you're building a new PC, if you want to pair your new 7900X or maybe even your 7600X with a top of the line GPU, I would really recommend the 7900 XTX, especially at this low price of $1,200. So this is actually only exclusive on Newegg. They not only have one model, but I've spotted 3 models that's going for around 1,200. So they have the ASRock Phantom Gaming 7900 XTX. They have the let me close this. They have the XFX Speedster Merc 310 7900 XTX, and then they have the SAPPHIRE Pulse, which is what I have in my current system. My current custom water loop system is running a SAPPHIRE Pulse 7900 XTX on a bi-ski water block. So it's really cheap, because if you have watched my previous video, I'm probably going to link it somewhere here, on the great time to buy a 4080 Super in Singapore. In that video, I mentioned the 4080 Supers at SimLim, or the cheapest ones you can find on Lazada, was selling about 1,500 to around 1,600, which is actually already considered a pretty good deal, because about a year ago, those 4080 Supers or 4080s were selling at around 1,800. So now you're getting at least a $200, $300 discount on the 4080 Supers. But if you compare it with the XTX, if the XTX is so cheap, 1,200, which is another $300 off from the current price of a 4080 Super that you can find in Singapore, of the cheapest 4080 Supers, for example. $200, $300 off the cheapest 4080 Supers for a similarly performing 7900 XTX in rasterized games. It's a really, really good deal. But the caveat is that for this is from Newegg, right? So you have to gamble with the fact that you are willing to have no warranty on your GPU, which is a pretty hard pill to swallow. When you're spending about more than $1,000 on a expensive piece of tech, such as a graphics card, you generally would want warranty. So if you're buying from Singapore, the cheapest 7900 XTX, I believe, is a SAPPHIRE Pulse version, which I also have it featured in the 4080 Super video. I believe it's from Dynacore, so that is where you can get your local warranty and so on, which is about 3 years, I think. But if you're buying from overseas, such as Newegg, the local distributors will not honor any warranty, because they will check the serial number, and then they will tell you, oh, sorry, this is a export set, which means overseas set, and then they will not honor any warranty locally. Whether you can claim overseas warranty is pretty difficult. I have never tried to claim overseas warranty, because like how you're gonna ship it back overseas, and the cost of shipping, it's pretty significant. So this, I mean, it's really cheap, but as long as you are okay with the fact that you don't have warranty on your card, you can order from Newegg 7900 XTX. So pretty good deal. Okay, talking about other good deals. So this one, before I dox myself with details, this is the Lexa NM790 1TB NVMe SSD on Amazon.sg. This is a deal that already expired because a lot of these deals, Amazon Prime deals, are very time sensitive. They have limited stock available for the deal, and I ordered this yesterday while I was actually just out, walking. I was out at work and I was just browsing on my Amazon app, Amazon Prime app, and I saw this really good deal for a 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD that can run up to 74,000 megabytes per second in terms of read speed for $64.22 Sing. So for context, after I've ordered 2 of these yesterday, I ordered 2, the deal has actually gone away. So this is the normal price. For the exact same thing, the Alexa NM790, if I were to see Alexa NM790, 1TB Gen 4 NVMe, everything exactly the same as what you can see in my order history. It's now selling at $120. So the deal which I bought it from is almost half price, half off. So now the deal is off. It's also on Amazon SG. So you can see that I last purchased this on 8th of October, which I'm recording this on the 9th of October. It's just one day, right? One day and the deal has already gone away. It is back to $120. Right, so the deal is off for this. So if you're looking for other good deals on NVMe SSDs, I'm gonna move on. So the Samsung 990 Pro, which is a top of the line SSD that is not Gen 5, right? So I think the Corsair Gen 5 SSD is the best, the fastest. I think it goes up to like 1200. That means, sorry, not 1200. 12,000. That means, yeah, 12,000 megabytes per second. There's the Corsair Gen 5 NVMe SSD. But other than that, the Samsung 990 Pro has always been a favorite of many creators because of its high speed and maybe good software support and things like that. So this 990 Pro, the maximum speed for it, I believe it's up to 7,450. So it has really good ratings on good reviews. So it comes with the heatsink. If you're buying, just for those people, if you're putting into your maybe your expansion NVMe SSD that doesn't come with a heatsink, so this included heatsink will be really good. This is only for 2TB at $188. It's actually considered a really good deal because normally at the current pricing of NVMe SSDs, this would run way above 200, like 250 and so on. So if you are a creator or if you are a gamer, that means where 1TB NVMe is typically not enough nowadays. If you're a very serious gamer, like I have all my games on my 2TB NVMe SSD and it's already fully filled, so much so that I have to start uninstalling games. So 1TB is generally not enough for a serious gamer, right? Because if you install like quite a few of your multiplayer games plus a few single player games, so 1TB will already fill up pretty fast. So if you're a serious gamer, you don't mind investing in a 2TB SSD, the Samsung 990 Pro is really good, right? And 188 Sing. So take note, this is Amazon SG deals again. If you find that it is expensive, $188 is too expensive for you, and you don't mind much slower speeds, but still you want the 2TB capacity, because like I mentioned, 2TB is generally the sweet spot for a gamer nowadays. That's my personal opinion. But it is definitely 1TB is not enough. You'll fill it up in maybe 3 months with your Steam library. Okay, so 2TB of Gen 3, so it's obviously a lot slower. It's only up to 3,200 megabytes per second. But in gaming, you won't really feel the speed. You might feel a little bit longer loading times, but it's not that bad, right? So if you don't mind that slightly longer loading times, if you want to save that 60, this is about a good $60 savings. So for the same capacity, right, you can get this SanDisk 2TB Gen 3 NVMe SSD, really good deal at $123. So really good. Yeah, it's a prime big deal. So next up, if you are even on a lower budget, that means like I mentioned, you don't really want to invest in a 2 terabyte SSD, or you just looking for or maybe you are buying the 2 terabyte SSD but you want additional storage. Let's say you want a 1 terabyte SSD for your Windows drives, right? And then you want to store your games on the 2 terabyte SanDisk, like I mentioned earlier. So with the price of the Samsung 990 Pro, which is about $180, you can actually buy 3 terabytes worth of storage by buying this SanDisk 2 terabyte at $123 and buying another like cheap good deal 1 terabyte NVMe SSD such as the Crucial P3. So this is on a really good deal. This is only Gen 3, so same up to 3,500 megabytes per second, but really good deal at $55 for the current NVMe market. It's really cheap. So other good deals at the Gen 3 speeds will be the Kingston 1000G, slightly more expensive at $57. So I mean, my personal preference would be the Crucial P3 because I do have the Crucial P3 and I also do have the Crucial P3 Plus among my systems. I think it's among my laptops or among my gaming systems and all that. I have quite a few NVMe SSDs lying spread around my gaming setups. Yeah, I think so. So I have the Crucial P3 and I have the Crucial P3 Plus. So both of them have worked fine. And yeah, I really like Crucial NVMe SSDs, so they're reliable. So the Kingston one I haven't personally tried, but it's a few dollars more expensive. So I think the Crucial P3 is the better pick here. It's cheaper and higher performing in my opinion. Okay, so that is all for NVMe's. So other than that, if to build a system, you will need RAM. So now I'm talking about good deals for RAM. First up is the DDR5 RAMs, right? So we have the Crucial RAMs. This is the black and white sticks. So both of them are exactly the same. They're called the Crucial Pro DDR5, 6,000 megahertz or 6,000 mega transfers. But the cache latency is not ideal. So you need to really check down, click more here, see more here. So both of them, the cache latency is at CL36. So a CL36 6,000 mega transfers is not the sweet spot for, let's say, AM5 Ryzen gaming systems. If you're building the AM5 Ryzen gaming system, for example, like I mentioned, using the 7600X, you would want to look for 6,000 mega transfers CL30 DDR5 memory. But if you don't mind, there's just a slightly slower speed. This is a really good deal. For the personally bought one pair of white sticks for 32 gigabyte. It's only $105. It's really good deal. The black sticks, somehow normally the white sticks should be more expensive, but in this Amazon SG Prime Day deal, somehow the white sticks are cheaper. So normally white sticks go for higher price. So the black sticks, if you have a black system, is $113. So I ordered a pair of white sticks, trying to build an all white system. Okay, so if you are any other DDR5 memories? Let me maybe just talk about all the DDR5 memory first. Okay. Any other DDR5? Okay, no. So let's say you want RGB, right? So let's say the white sticks or the black sticks, without RGB, nope. That means they're good deal, but you want like the top of the line speed, like I mentioned, 6,000 mega transfers, CL30 memory. This with RGB is really good. This is not really an Amazon Prime Day deal, but they have always been at this price. The cheapest 6,000 mega transfer CL30 ARGB memory that you can find. So I personally have a set of black sticks, 32 gigabyte black, but this is in the white version. I believe you can actually choose the black sticks. Let me check. So yeah, so the black sticks are exactly the same price, 165, the same price as the white sticks, right? It's white sticks also 165. So a few cents difference, but good deal. If you want the top of the line speeds, but you don't want the ARGB, I think you can search for the Team T Create. Let me scroll among my. Okay, let me find. I wonder if it's here. Yes. So black and white sticks. Right, so this is the top of the line performance, right? So for Ryzen gaming systems, not for Intel systems. So for Intel systems, you probably are going for like 8,000 mega transfers and more. Although the caveat is that for AMD systems nowadays, if you update your BIOS, most of the motherboards will be able to overclock the memory up to 8,000, provided your memory sticks can handle it. But I've heard from a lot of content creators that you don't really gain any gaming benefit or even productivity benefit from using 8,000 mega transfers memory for your Ryzen systems because of the desync between, I think, the Infinity Fabric or like the internal clocks and so on. I'm not super into the details of that, but all I know is that yeah, if you don't gain any significant benefit from buying very expensive 8,000 mega transfers memory, then this is the sweet spot. CL30 6,000 mega transfers. This is without ARGB. You save a good like $10 because the ARGB one, where was it? ARGB one is $165, and these pairs are selling for like $146. So almost $20. So almost $20 worth of saving. Somehow the white set is a bit cheaper again, which is kind of weird. So the Team Force T-Create DDR5 32GB 6,000 mega transfers CL30, so top of the line memory in terms of Ryzen gaming systems. White sticks are $145, black sticks $146, $1 more, but really good, high performance. And if you are not into ARGB, let's say you're building for example, a ITX system, a small form factor system, right? So the small form factor system mostly is inside a mesh panel, so you're not able to see the ARGB anyway, but you just want it to perform the best, so you want to disregard the RGB. So all this is really good if you're not so if you're particular about the cache latency, like you want exactly CL30. So if you're not that particular about the cache latency, like I mentioned, this $113 deal, as well as the $105 deal for CL36 6,000 mega transfers memory is actually pretty good from Crucial. Okay, so that's it about DDR5 RAM. If you are building or if you are upgrading your AM4 systems, right? Oh wait, I still have one DDR5 RAM that I haven't talked about. So 6,400 mega transfer CL32. This actually is a really good deal, but for a Ryzen gaming system, I don't know whether it will actually work. Because you probably will need a BIOS update. And I'm not sure whether all motherboards will be good enough to support the 6,400 mega transfers at CL32. But if you're willing to gamble a bit, this is an Intel set, Intel XMP3. But in my experience, I've used the Intel XMP setting inside the motherboard BIOS selection for my Ryzen systems, and it works perfectly fine. Most of the time for AMD systems, you want to use the AMD Expo timing. But if you're okay with trying it out, because it's actually a pretty good deal, $123, right? So it is actually cheaper than the so-called the high performance 6,000 CL30 memory that I mentioned earlier. So this also comes with ARGB, so it's Aries, Alexa Aries, pretty good performing memory. So this is actually a really good deal. If I choose the 6,000, okay, they do have 6,000. So the 6,000 CL30 is actually a little bit more expensive, at $134. So the 64,000 mega transfer CL32 is actually cheaper. Okay, but good deal. Next up, have I finished talking about DDR5? Yes. So let's talk about DDR4. So if you're on AM4 systems, or if you're on an Intel system, you're upgrading an Intel system with the DDR4. If you're building or if you're upgrading your content creation system, so you want as much memory as possible. Like I mentioned, if you're a video editor, if you are a 3D modeler, if you're doing mostly creative work that needs a lot of memory, this Crucial Pro 64 gigabytes DDR4 sticks can clock up to 32,000 mega transfers or 32,000 megahertz, but it's really cheap, $113. It's the cheapest I've ever seen a 64 gigabit set, because I used to run a 64 gigabit set in my AM4 system, which I actually had a 3950X in it. That cost me 200 plus or 300. I think it cost me about 300 when I bought it years ago, and when I did resell it, I sold it for probably about 200. So this is the cheapest I've ever seen DDR4 64 gigabyte. But obviously the cache latency is not the best. Normally, if you're looking for a gaming system for 3200 megahertz, you're looking for CL16 or sometimes even CL14 for the higher speed. So this is a more creator focused kind of thing. Normally with the higher storage capacity, that means 32 gigabyte, above 32 gigabytes, the cache latency normally will drop, the speed will drop. And if you're okay with the drop in speed because you're more focused on content creation rather than on gaming, so this is still really good. So cache latency of 22, speed of 32 gigabytes, but 64 gigabytes of 32,000 megahertz, but 64 gigabytes of memory. For a content creation system, this is quite unbeatable. This is a really, really good deal. Okay, then moving on, if you are not into content creation but you want a very low budget AM4 gaming system, all I mentioned, if your Intel system is on, if you're building maybe a used system, or not a used system, but maybe a building like an old Intel, you bought a used like Intel chip, or maybe you're buying brand new AM4 chips, like this 5700X3D for example, or 5800X3D. Right now 5800X3Ds are pretty expensive. Anyway, if you're going for just 16 gigabyte of DDR4, this is a really good deal. It's on $42 only for 16 gigabyte of DDR4, 32,000 megahertz at CL16. So this is not the fastest. The fastest I mentioned will be 32,000 megahertz at CL14, but this is pretty fast, right? So if you're okay with just budget gaming on AM4 systems, on Intel DDR4 systems, yeah, so this will suffice, right? 16 gigabytes will be enough. But if you are doing any content creation like streaming and so on, you'll find that 16 gigabyte is not enough. You will prefer 32 gigabytes because it will not be obvious in your systems, but you will experience some slowdown, some stutterings. Things will not run as smoothly like when I have so many browser windows on and my system still runs smoothly, is because I have 32 gigabytes in my gaming system rather than 16. But mine is a DDR5 system, so that's different. Okay, so this is really good deal for 16 gigabyte of DDR4. Next up, still on Amazon.sg, we have, so now earlier I was speaking about if 16 gigabytes is not enough for you, if you don't mind spending just $20, about $25 more. $25 more, you can get for your AM4 or Intel system 32 gigabytes of DDR4. This is 32,000 megahertz, but the caveat is that this is the cheapest 32 megabytes DDR4 I've ever seen, but the caveat is that it is slow. So it is not CL16 like our 16 gigabyte set earlier. It is CL22. So this is more for content creation again. But honestly, as a gamer, you probably drop a few FPS, but it's not very noticeable. So if you're on a budget and you don't mind dropping some FPS because you might not be running the best, highest end graphics cards anyway, 32 gigabyte for a gaming system or like a gaming hybrid content, a gaming streaming system, 32 gigabytes is absolutely necessary in my opinion, because you're also probably, if you're a content creator, if you're doing streaming, you're probably also doing video editing, so this extra RAM is really beneficial for you. So you might want to sacrifice some speed if you're going for a really good deal for $67. Okay, so this is my new page. Now moving on to AliExpress. Okay, so we were talking about the AM5 systems, right? Earlier I was talking about AM5 systems. So AM5 systems, obviously, if you have a CPU, you will need a motherboard to go with it. This is actually not a really good deal, but this is just to showcase how expensive small form factor or ITX motherboards go for. This is actually considered one of the cheaper ones, the MSI MPG B650i, selling for like $287 if you're going for a small form factor system. I actually have more motherboards here. So this is not the best deal. If you are okay with a normal ATX system, my personal recommendation would be this, the unbeatable ASRock B650M-HDV. This is the older one from 2 years ago, but it's one that's very positively reviewed by Hardware Unboxed. Only has 2 RAM sticks, but it actually boots up really fast, and it's the lowest, it's one of the most highest performing in this price bracket, highest performing AM5 motherboards in this price bracket. So comes, I think, only with two NVMe slots, so one with the heat shield here and one without, but it's really good because it's pretty high performing. The VRAMs are pretty well cooled and so on. But this is not the cheapest that you can find. If you're looking for the cheapest budget motherboards, what I would actually recommend, this is also recommended by Tech Yes City, the Australian tech YouTuber, it is to buy the Xingyue, this on AliExpress, Xingyue B650 ITX motherboards. So some you see here, if you're searching for it, make sure you get the spelling right. So B650 ITX, Xingyue is spelled ZJGINYUE. You have some which are priced ridiculously at 500 to 400, but you search around, there are some going for as low as 149. The lowest I can find is this 127 with 186 sold. So this is probably the best one. It's going on the Xingyue official store, so to say. I mean, there's a lot of Xingyue official stores, but $127.67 for a B650 small ITX motherboard. This is less than a third of the price of the MSI MPG, which is already on discount. So you can see how cheap it is. But there are some caveats. I would probably make a link in the description to the review video from Tech Yes City, so you can if you are buying this motherboard, I probably will be ordering this motherboard because I want to build a system. But I'm considering between this and a white motherboard because I want to build an all-white system. So yeah, but this is really good deal, $127. But the caveat is that the BIOS is in Chinese, so it might be hard to navigate the BIOS. And in terms of BIOS updates, you might not get BIOS updates. Take note that there's shipping costs, right? But I haven't logged in, so maybe if I logged in, I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper shipping, but take note of the shipping costs. And anything else? Basically, yeah. And end of the day, this is just to compare the prices of DDR4. But if you need a power supply to power your system, because take note, I talked about GPUs. I didn't talk about the cheaper ones. I talked about high-end ones, right? But if you need if you're building a budget system with a lower end GPU and you don't mind having lower power, this is a really good deal for a power supply. 600 watt Thermaltake power supply. I haven't checked it on the PSU Counters list, but this probably ranked pretty low on the PSU Counters list. $62 for a really cheap 600 watt power supply. Otherwise, you can buy about 700 to 800 watt power supplies at around the $100 range to maybe $90 range. There's the norm for about 750 to 700 watt power supplies. So that will give you a little bit more wattage if you are running slightly higher performing GPU. So this is for AMD systems, because if you are running an Intel, like a 13, 14 gen system, you probably want to get the higher wattage ones, like 800 watt or higher, because the CPUs and motherboards for that just suck in tremendous amounts of power. So that's about it. If you have any other good deals on Amazon Prime Day or any other good deals in general, feel free to post in the comments, talk about it, then maybe I can even check it out and I can make another video about it. So I've been ranting on a bit long. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys on the next video.